Okay guys, hi, how are you? Welcome back to my channel if you're not new here. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. So today I'm actually kind of in a bit of a good mood. This is something that I've been thinking about and I have been feeling much more free than I have been in a long time. I want to talk about some things that I kind of just recently started to implement into my life to just improve my overall happiness, and I have definitely been noticing a huge level up. So while I'm on this happy high, I really want to actually do something with that. So the first thing that I kind of started to do was I mentally accepted being a disappointment to other people. I've realized becoming a disappointment to other people is like the gateway to accepting and loving yourself. So my culture is very intense. It is very strict. It is not an individualistic culture by any means. Everything is very much about the sense of community and how to make your family look good. And anything you do, really, you don't exist for yourself, you exist for your family. And for a long time, that drove me absolutely insane because I just naturally didn't fit in with the cultural norms and expectations that were bestowed on me. So I started to not give a fuck and start saying how I really felt. One thing too is the fact that like in my culture, we don't believe that you can leave the house before you get married. I was planning on moving to New York City for the longest time, and despite my mom's anger and disappointment and comparing me to everybody else's daughters who fulfills their duties as the perfect Middle Eastern daughter, I didn't do that. I was like, you know what? No, I figured everything out completely by myself. It forced me into a state of hyper independence, but honestly, I have no regrets. It sucked at the time that I didn't feel like I could rely on my parents the same way a lot of other people that I knew were able to, but at the same time, I'm okay. And I'm okay because I'm really looking at the bright side. And the bright side is now I actually do not need my parents to survive. I don't even need anybody to survive. Now I know how to do it completely by myself. And for that, I feel so accomplished because that was never something that I was ever going to feel when I was younger. I really thought I was going to be forever dependent on people. I was too scared to make decisions. But once you decide, I am okay with disappointing other people, you're gonna start being able to make decisions that you want to do, and you're not gonna have that paralysis anymore that I definitely really struggled with when I was younger. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about kind of relates to that, and it is looking around at your life and thinking to yourself, who are the people in my circle, in my community, that I have expectations of? And then when you figure out who those people are, take those expectations and throw them out the window. I have felt in my life that once I stopped expecting anything from anybody, including my own family members, I have been much happier. I don't think about how something that somebody did really affected me. I don't think about how somebody hurt my feelings. I don't sit there and get upset about things that just don't matter in the long run. There's only one person you should have expectations of, and that is really yourself. And if you want to have expectations of an external person, that is your life partner. But other than that, I don't think it is fair to even put expectations on a person, because have you had a friend or really just anybody in your life where when you hang out with them and it's so low investment and you don't expect anything of them, everything goes so smoothly and you have so much fun with that person and you really just get to unconditionally enjoy their presence? If you have, then once you added expectations in and then that person started subverting your expectations, sorry, car. I would love to have like one day of peace. Okay, back to what I was saying. Have you noticed that your happy feelings and your pure joy kind of gets taken away once you start putting expectations on a person? This is why, by the way, people say don't move in with your friends, because now you have to have expectations. So, for example, if your friend doesn't pay their bills, you're screwed, right? But that is now an expectation that you have placed on your friend for them to be financially responsible. I lived with my best friend and not to say that I regret it, I had a great time, but it really did make me see what other people meant when they would say, oh, I couldn't live with my best friends, because if you're not on the same page, having expectations is going to destroy that friendship. And when you are in a shared space where somebody's decisions are going to affect you, it is pretty impossible to avoid having any expectations of them. This is why also too, a lot of people have a lot of trouble with their relationships, because maybe they put too much expectation. I guess what I'm trying to say is I have a lot of expectations for my partner, but one thing that my partner actually taught me was you don't really put anything past anybody. You don't want your world to be shattered if somebody does something that screws you over. Even your romantic partners. But you can really say that a lot of that stuff really goes heavy into boundary setting. You will be much happier once you have those healthy walls to protect yourself. Like, who needs to just be feeling irritated over the smallest things that don't matter, crash outs and lost friendships over things that just didn't need to be that serious? I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is I feel like people take everything just too seriously nowadays. And once you kind of chill out and just take life like, okay, things are happening, that's just part of the human experience, it prevents you from having a meltdown every time either something bad happens to you, you lose a friend, somebody does something to disappoint you. I have so many friends that were such close friends that like I would never go a day without talking to, and now I can go a very long time without talking to them and I don't feel affected by it. At the end of the day, you are your own ride or die. Don't put that pressure on somebody else, because that is a lot of pressure, and it's not fair to place that pressure on other people. It's not fair to expect people to be the things that make you pick yourself up when you're down. You need to show up for yourself every single day. This is the biggest lesson to myself, because I was such a good friend to everybody else and I was not a good friend to me. And I would feel so deeply hurt when the friends that I was such a good friend to, that I just put all this effort in, were not a good friend to me the way I needed it when I needed it. And I can think of multiple times, multiple different friends that have shown that I did not matter to them the same way that they did to me. That used to destroy me until I was like, well, you're at fault because you shouldn't be of equal importance to them. They're supposed to be number one to themselves, but I was sitting here being like, you're number one, and not me. Hi, yes, outfit change. I really did not like how I ended that video, so we're redoing it. People get very upset when you are a person who is a doormat and then you pick yourself up and become stronger and become a person who does not tolerate BS. I have found that the people that I kept trying to please, it was so not beneficial to me, because I was literally like on this never-ending hamster wheel, like wondering where the finishing line was. I couldn't understand why I could not impress them, because the goalpost just kept shifting. When I have put two and two together, I was like, wait a minute, there's a reason why your expectations of me are so high, and it's because you actually don't have any expectations of yourself and you're looking for an external source to be proud of. So I'm going to bring my mom up. My mom had insane high expectations from me, and obviously I wouldn't really like to live up to those, because me and her are just naturally such different people. Love my mom, don't love everything she believes in. We just don't have the same values, and that is okay. Her expectations of me, I couldn't understand them, and I'm like, why would me doing these things make you proud? Because she would say these things, right? She would say like, oh, I'll accept X, Y, and Z if your uncle is okay with it. Yes, that is a real example. I will get more into detail about specific stories about that in a future video. Finally, I would have my uncle give me approval in whatever it is that I was trying to do. And I would still notice that my mom was still not happy. And I would say to her, I'm like, well, you said that you would be happy if the external environment that you're trying to get the approval of was accepting of my decisions. So a lot of decisions that I made, I had a lot of backing from my uncle, from my dad, from my siblings. But like, no matter what those external sources said, even though she would on paper accept things that I would do, she would still feel upset because it didn't align with her worldview. But Why is she upset at me? Because she feels like she failed herself. So it's kind of like a weird thing, right? Where it's like on one hand, they can't think for themselves because they're looking for external sources to feel that validation from. Don't look for that validation in other people, because even when you get it, if it's not something that feels authentic to you, you will never be okay with it. I have been told by so many people that I've lived such a full life and I'm so smart and I'm so this, and I'm still get down on myself and I don't feel like I've accomplished the amount of things that people make me out to see. Dealing with the temporary war is so hard. I know it is very hard mentally to know you're disappointing or hurting somebody, but you're making your life so much better in the future. That is hard to say. It is really hard to be in the moment and really feel like you're doing the right thing when you are a people pleaser. I used to be such a people pleaser. I really had to train myself to be like a I don't give a fuck kind of person, but like still being respectful, right? There's a balance, obviously. Definitely be self-assured enough to where it doesn't really matter to you what other people think, because you're never fully going to please somebody. And even if you fully please somebody, they're not going to be in your life forever. My dad went into a full spiral after his dad passed away because he just felt like, I made all these life decisions. I lived my life strictly to impress you, and it never worked, first of all, and now you're just gone. So what was the point? What was it all for? And I know that if my dad could go back in time and undo and redo a lot of choices, a lot of things he did in his life, I guarantee you he absolutely would. And I know that because he's told me that. So I learned from those lessons. I learned from his wisdom. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much all I have to say in this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please subscribe, comment, like the video. If this helped you or if you feel like it could help a friend, please share it. Follow me on TikTok. I will put my TikTok username somewhere up here. I go live and it's really fun. And yeah, I'm so excited to get to know you guys better, and I'm excited for you guys to get to know me better, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.